Hey everyone, it's Smitha. Today we're going to be talking all about new makeup releases, both mainstream and indie, especially from the perspective of someone who has brown skin. I started this series a few months ago because I wanted to do a little bit more of a deep dive on new makeup releases. These are some of my favorite videos to watch myself. And we have quite a lot of things to talk about. I decided not to have a set schedule for these videos. And as far as I can tell, you all have been enjoying them. So I do want to keep doing them because they're also just a lot of fun to do. Let's go ahead and get into it. Also, I was doing a very editorial makeup look before filming this video because I'm doing a little collaboration with a friend. So I want to tell you what I have on my eyes. It's the newest palette from Clionadh Cosmetics, which is a Chinese beauty brand that I have loved for the past several years. And this palette is called Tropical Mirage. It's basically a follow-up to a very colorful palette that they did last year called Sunset Symphony. But I have used this several times and had a great time with it. So I did just want to let you know what I have on my eyes. All right, starting off with a few mainstream announcements. One is that the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty event is going to be starting on August 28th. I know that there are people that either really enjoy it or not so much. I had a bunch of items that I was really excited are going to be on sale, and I actually have a video up on this. I'm going to go ahead and link it in the cards. So if you're curious and want to see what my top picks are and see demos with those top picks, make sure to check out that video. The second thing I want to talk about is there are a few new brands at Sephora. One is KJH brand, and KJH brand actually is a brand that I have done a dedicated video on last year, but it's been quite a while since I did a video, and they've had some new products come out since that time, but I am super excited to see this. Katie Jane Hughes is someone who many of you may have heard of. She is a makeup artist. She does a ton of education and is just someone I have really looked up to since starting my journey as a content creator. My most favorite products from the brand are these little contour stilos that I love to use as lip liners and on the eyes as eyeliner, and her highlighters. This is the purple one that was limited edition, but these just look so natural and glowy on the skin. If you are keen to see an updated KJH video, definitely let me know in the comments because I can do that. The second brand that's new to Sephora is a small Mexican indie brand called Aora Mexico. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. Definitely trying my best. But this is a brand that looks super fun. They have some fun eyeshadows, some fun lip shades. And Sephora, I feel like in general, needs more brands that carry fun makeup products. So I hope they succeed and do well there. Also, I would love to hear in the comments if you are keen to see some type of video or review on the brand. Let me know. Okay, now on to some new releases. First, we have a new foundation coming from Fenty, and I believe that this is dropping on September 4th on Ulta. Their most recent launch was, of course, their black glosses, including caviar crystals. I think this is going to be a really big launch for Fenty. I've already seen that a number of creators like Tony Bravo and Gloria have reviewed it and have spoken very highly of the shade range, which makes me so happy and really excited to try it myself. Especially after what happened with their bronzer launch where it really wasn't inclusive. I feel like this is so incredibly needed. In terms of the foundation itself, foundations from Fenty, I would say, are hit or miss for me, both from the shade match perspective and from the finish perspective. I've had some foundations that I really love. Some of them have pulled too orange on me, so I am cautiously optimistic. This foundation also, in terms of its finish, really does look like it's my vibe because it looks like it's incredibly natural looking on the skin while still giving a lot of coverage. My favorite foundations in general are ones that have kind of a thinner consistency, do give coverage, but don't look cakey on the skin at all. So this one, out of all of the foundations that have launched from Fenty, is the one that I'm the most excited to try. I am going to an event for this launch through YouTube, so I am definitely going to let you know what I think about it. I'm hoping that I'll get to try it, get my shade match, and see which one works the best for me. But I would love to hear in the comments what you think of this launch and if you feel similarly excited for it. Okay, next we have a little bit more information about the Nars Holiday launch, and they haven't made an official announcement yet. It looks like there's going to be two different palettes. One of them it looks like it's intended for medium to deeper skin tones, and one of them is lighter. They look like one of them has a couple of highlighters or blush lighters, as well as 4 eyeshadows. And then the other one also has 4 eyeshadows and a blush and a highlighter. I think that's what's going on. I am excited about these. I'm happy to see that there's some eyeshadows. It looks like one of them has kind of a slate shimmer, but it looks a little different, and I always enjoy Nars Holiday palettes. I could see this one as being a little bit divisive. It's not the most exciting, but the packaging is cute, and it is something that is different and a little bit fresher from Nars. I definitely will be planning to review the one that is for medium to deeper skin tones. It also looks like the collection includes several lip glosses, as well as a couple of lip liners and a highlighter. The highlighter, to be honest, looks like it's more for lighter skin tones, so I think I would pass on that. All right, the next one I have is from Stila, and I think a lot of people were surprised to see, but Stila is actually doing a collaboration with Hunger Games in honor of the new movie that's dropping on November 20th. And so they have a whole collaboration with Hunger Games. I know that a lot of people find Stila at this point to be a little bit boring. I think the collection is honestly pretty cute. So they have basically a set of 5 liquid shadows, and I know their liquid shadows are some of their most popular products. I was really happy to see that all of the shades that are included in this collection look like they're unique, so they're not just re-promotes of past eyeshadows. I feel like a lot of brands reuse shades that they have in their permanent lineup, so really happy to see that that was not the case. They also have a new Heaven's Hue highlighter. I included one of their Heaven's Hue highlighters in my ranking highlighters from Ulta. It was right near the top, if I recall, definitely in my top formulas. So definitely excited to check that out. I am receiving this collection in PR, so when I receive it, I will do a full review of everything. I think if I had not received it or wouldn't be receiving it, I would probably just pick up the highlighter and the liquid shadows. But the other product that looks really cool to me is that they have a bright cobalt blue liquid liner that looks like it is just a statement liner. I love that shade of blue. So that was also a piece that really intrigued me. Okay, here's another launch that I've already talked about and reviewed, and that is that Half Magic made more of their shimmer shadows, single shimmer shadows. They came out with 4 or 5 new shades, and I actually did a whole video where I swatched and tried those on and did some looks, but very excited about this. I love that Ulta carries Half Magic, and I was hoping sincerely that they would be included in the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, and they are. So if you had your eye on these new shades and were hoping to catch them on a discount, it's great because you can get them for 50% off during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty if you did want to pick any of those up, or older shades that you had wanted to. Normally these shadows retail for $15, and on Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, they'll be on sale for $7.50. I really do love these new shades. I hope that down the line they decide to make ones that are a little bit more colorful, because these ones were more kind of in that realm of neutrals with a twist, plus a kind of blue purple iridescent, which is one of my favorite shades of iridescence. All right, next we have a new launch from Pat McGrath. I was in general just really excited to see a new launch from Pat McGrath. I know that the brand has kind of been on the rocks, and I'm just really rooting for them, and I want to see them do fun and interesting makeup. They're coming out with new quads, or they have come out with new eyeshadow quads, as well as brow gels, and their brow gels are in all sorts of shades, intended for if you want to do kind of some editorial brow looks. And the quads, there's two that are more neutral, and then there's one that's more colorful. The main thing I want to mention or say, I don't understand why they did it like this, is that the coolest quad, the one that has is the most colorful, is only available on the Pat McGrath website. So I'm not sure why Sephora and Ulta don't carry them. I'm not sure if it's just a matter of those type of really colorful shades not doing as well at Sephora and Ulta. I feel like people have been asking for Pat McGrath to do fun, give us fun makeup again. And so it just confuses me why they wouldn't be available there. But all that to say that that quad that has yellow and blue in it, I did pick up. I skipped on the brow gels, but I am very curious. It's Pat McGrath, so it's very expensive. But I really wanted to support the brand, and I am curious about what the quality is. So that's another one that I will be reviewing in the near future. But I'm curious to know if anything from this launch was exciting or intriguing to you. And if you're like me and you're just happy to see that the brand is coming out with new makeup launches after having a bit of a rough go. All right, next we have a new launch from Danessa Myricks. Really excited about this one. It's been a minute since we had a launch from Danessa Myricks. And one of my predictions going into this year was that I think I included this in my predictions video, that I thought we were going to see some type of dedicated lip launch from the brand. So I'm happy to see that that was the case. I don't know exactly what I expected, but these are basically lip glosses in a squeezy tube. Kind of similar idea to the Violette FR ones, but these look like they're completely different formula. They come in a bunch of different shades. They retail for $26. They're currently available on the Sephora website and on the Danessa Myricks website. And these look like they are kind of thick glosses that are very pigmented. They're coming in mostly a range of nude shades, but you have a couple that are more colorful. One that's a very deep brown that looks super pretty. It's called Black Currant. And then they also have one of their more fun ones is kind of a pinky purple, and it has the same name as one of their blushes called Grape Soda. That looks like a fun one as well. But yeah, I am excited about these. I usually receive PR from Danessa Myricks. I have not received these. If I don't in the next month or so, I'll pick up a shade so that I can try the formula and let you know what I think about it. And yeah, let me know what you think of this lip launch. I do hope that we see some more kind of fun shades as well. I think of Danessa Myricks still as being one of the more fun brands at Sephora. And so, with their Lightworks palette, which usually the Lightworks is in the mid-fall or early fall, so I feel like that's going to be around the corner as well. But I would love to see some fun shades in here as well, rather than mostly safe shades. But either way, I'm excited to try the formula and see what I think about it. Next, we have a new launch from Makeup by Mario. They have these matte eye paints that came out, I want to say around this time last year. And now they've created shimmer shadows. To be honest with you, even the matte ones didn't super excite me. There was one shade that looked really cool, but I've heard pretty mixed reviews on these, so I hadn't been intrigued to check them out. If there was really kind of interesting shimmer shades in the lineup, I would be curious about these. But to be honest with you, these look like mostly all boring colors. So personally, I'm not super interested in trying them. They retail for $25 and they are available at Sephora now. All right, from Kofi Beauty, which is a South Asian owned brand that's at Sephora. They just came out with new lip stains, and this is interesting because these are actually a matte formula. Their kind of most viral lip product is their lip stains that are glosses. So they are apply as a gloss, and then once the gloss wears away, you have a stain that remains. And so these actually apply matte. I have tried them out. They have a nice lasting power. I didn't find the shade range to be quite as interesting as for their staining lip glosses, and I'm not exactly sure why that is, whether they're just harder to formulate, but I am happy to see that they're doing a different type of stain because I feel like they do lip stains very well. I do have these shades, so I think what I'm going to do is some type of wear test with one of them, and then a short where I try on all the different shades in case you're curious to see lip swatches of those. All right, next we have a few new launches from Juvia's Place. Juvia's Place is at Ulta. That's the primary place where I pick them up. And they have a couple of different lip formulas. One is like lip glosses in squeezy tube. These look okay. The shades look a little bit boring and none of them are super deep, maybe because they're very sheer. But those look a little bit boring to me. They have lip mousses that look a little bit more interesting because they have shades that are both kind of lighter nudes and really rich nudes. They have this really rich berry toned shade and this very deep, almost black brown shade that looks really moody and cool. I might want to just try that one shade because I'm curious. But yes, they have both of those lip formulas. And then something that was a little bit unexpected and intriguing is that they have these, they're called the Warrior Multi-Use Chrome Gels. Basically, they look like kind of cream metallics, and they're marketed as being multi-use. Although if they are truly very pigmented and quite metallic, I feel like they're mostly going to be eyeshadows. And eyeshadow creams can be hard to do without, to have formulas that don't have significant creasing. I am intrigued about these. They have some very solid eyeshadow formulas. So this might be another one where maybe I pick up a shade, maybe when it's on sale, just to see what the formula is like. But yeah, I feel like these would mostly be eyeshadows. Maybe if there's a way of applying them very sheerly as a highlighter, but they do look pretty. But I kind of wish that they had done these as they're called chrome gels, but they look basically like metallic gels. I do wish that they had done these in some type of multi-chrome formula because they have their pressed multi-chromes. Wouldn't that have been cool? I know indie brands have done things like that, but really not very many kind of brands that are in places like Ulta and Sephora. All right, the other thing I want to mention before diving into some indie releases is that there are already a bunch of holiday sets that have been popping up on Ulta and Sephora. I have to say that none of the ones that I've seen yet have been particularly noteworthy. So I may talk about those, the ones that are really stand out to me the most, in my next video. All right, now on to talking about indie releases. This is where, in my opinion, some of the most exciting makeup is. Most of these have already released at this point, but they're worth mentioning. The first is that Rituel de Fille did a collaboration with Andromeda. This is actually their second collaboration. The first one was 2 years ago, and that one was a green-based collection called Viridescent. So that collection that was limited edition has restocked. I actually have a short where I try on all those products, so recommend checking that out. But in addition to that restock, they actually came out with a purple collection this time around. It includes 2 blushes, one that is more intended for light to light medium skin tones, and then one that is more for medium to deeper skin tones. There is an eye soot, so an eyeshadow, sparkly purple eyeshadow, and a enchanted lip sheer. Really fun collections, really well done. And if you didn't know about them, they are definitely worth checking out. All right, some other recent releases. First is Gourmand Girls. They just came out with 2 palettes, and these actually launched at the same time. One of them is a sort of warm toned summer going into fall palette, and that's called Pandemonium. That was actually my favorite of the 2. And then the second one was basically a variation of a blue monochromatic palette. I love blue eyeshadow, but if I had to only pick one of the 2, it would be Pandemonium. I had a lot of fun using these palettes and actually did a video on them, so I'm going to go ahead and link that in the cards in case you're curious and want to see more info about them. In that same video where I talk about the 2 Gourmand Girls palettes, I also talked about the most recent palette from Ladybug Glow, and I happen to have this one right in front of me. This is called Flora Mist, and I spoke very highly of this palette because I think the color story is a lot of fun, and everything performed very well. And fun fact, you can actually get Ladybug Glow on the Gourmand Girls website as well. So yeah, in case you're curious, they do have a standalone site and an Etsy, I believe, but you can get them also on Gourmand Girls. And I just thought this was a very unique color story. I love the pop of lime and some of these more muted purple tones. And I like that this deep shade here is not quite a black. It's a little bit different. So yeah, just thought this was a really fun color story. The last recently launched palette that I wanted to talk about is one from Fantasy Cosmetica. And at the time that you're seeing this video, they actually just launched the palette last week, at the end of last week, and it's called Paladin. The Paladin palette is one of their 9-pan palettes. The 9-pan palettes is one of my favorite series that they do. They have some hits and some misses for me, but I mentioned Cleric as being one of my top palettes for 2026 so far. And they happen to have another palette in this series. Apparently there's only one more after this one. I haven't done any content on this palette as of yet. I think what I'm going to do is a short where I share some detailed swatches and eye swatches of shimmers and a look as well. And it's another one I think is a fun color story for summer going into fall. Okay, and not a new launch, but a restock of a previous limited edition release, and that is Clionadh Cosmetics is going to be restocking their pool tile inspired palette. Last summer, there was basically a video on TikTok that went super viral where a creator was looking for an eyeshadow palette that looked like these beautiful iridescent pool tiles that she saw and took a picture of. And a lot of brands, indie brands, knowing that they make palettes that include shades like this, actually delivered because so many people were looking for palettes like this after that video came out. And Clionadh actually made a limited edition iridescent palette. Clionadh Cosmetics made their 6-pan pool tile palette. The pool tile palette was super limited edition. So it was made just basically to launch once, and once it was gone, it was gone. But apparently there's been a lot of people asking for if it can come back. And so yes, it came back. I actually have it, and I have it, but because it was so limited at the time, I ended up not really doing a bunch of content on it. So I think what I'm going to do is do a short where I try on the different shimmers in the palette. So in case you're curious and want to see more detail about that, I will have some content on that. And for those who aren't familiar with Cosmetics, they are a very small indie brand that's based out of Australia. I actually recently did a collaboration with them inspired by Black Opal in their kind of typical 9-pan all shimmer palette format. And they're a brand that I've used for years and really come to know and love their sparkly makeup products. All right, and the last release that I want to talk about is this new collection that's going to be coming from Blendbunny, and it's in collaboration with Robert Welsch. I watch Robert Welsch on YouTube pretty religiously, so I'm very excited for him and to see what this collection is going to look like. It's called Gleam and Gloom, and it includes a palette, and it looks like different lip products as well as keychains. It is cuteness overload. Very excited to see what the color story of this looks like. I am a little bit surprised that there is a release already. I feel like the May Pang one feels like it just happened. But I think the Blendbunny collections are just done so well. It's just a matter of, obviously, it's impossible to keep up with all of them. I would love to get something from the collection to support Robert Welsch, especially maybe one of these little like keychains. But I love purple eyeshadow, and I feel like if this palette matches what the cover looks like, this color story is going to definitely be up my alley. So I may wait and get it kind of down the line. Maybe wait for some type of Black Friday sale as well. But I can't wait to see what this looks like. And honestly, I feel like this color story may be my favorite collaboration that he's done with them. I liked the previous collaboration, but I like more curated color stories, and I feel like the theming of this one just looks like it's going to be kind of like purple, blue, pink. I feel like it's going to have a cohesive color story. So let me know what you think of the sneak peek. Maybe even at the time that you see this video, the inside of the palette will be revealed, and if that's the case, I'm going to pop it up on the screen. But let me know what you think. All right, now that I've had a chance to go through a bunch of new makeup releases, both indie and mainstream, I would love to know what you think of some of these new launches. I do know that we're getting into that time of the year where the number of releases can be a little bit overwhelming. In general, over the summer, there's a bit of a lull. I almost wish that there was, it was spread out a little bit more instead of like everything in the fall all at once, especially holiday launches as well. But it can be an exciting time in the world of makeup. In general, I just love talking about makeup, which is part of why doing these videos is so much fun. I would also love to hear if you've been enjoying this video series, and if there's anything else you'd want me to talk about in these videos, or other launches that are going on that are exciting to you and I didn't mention. If you made it to the end of my video, I would so appreciate it if you would leave me some type of fall-themed emoji, since fall is right around the corner. As always, I really hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.